Hello everybody, today is day 2 for the Chief Seattle speech. You know that we have already started, the part 1 is already done, and if you haven't listened to it, you can find the link that I'll attach on top. So from there you can study part 1 of it and then come over here. There are pictures associated with it. You will find relevant pictures over there so that you don't find any difficulty in the chapter as it is a bit difficult. And you will also see the map which will take you to that particular place where all of this thing had happened. First, we will see that map and then we will move into details about imperialism, about the difficulties that the people faced, how they were removed from the land. We will learn about it, and the next half of it we are going to do today. Alright, so without any more delay, let's begin. And I hope you will not forget to subscribe if you have liked the video. Alright, let's begin. So remember last class we had ended at that portion where Chief Seattle was very worried about what is going to be the future of his tribe. Slowly, neither the Great Spirit whom they worship nor the God of the white Americans are going to protect them. They are not even bothered about them. They are slowly, receding like a receding tide, and maybe they will soon be extinct from the face of earth. So this part we have finished, and then we will move to today's portion. Yes, if we have a common heavenly father, he must be partial. So I think that if we do have a common father, if our father is common, who is this R? That means the Native Americans and the white Americans. If they have the same father, then he must be partial, for he came to his pale faced children. We never saw him. He gave you laws but had no word for his red children, whose teeming multitudes once filled this vast continent as stars fill the firmament. You see, that is why I have pasted this picture for you, the first picture on top. You see the sky, firmament means sky. So you see in the sky it is full of stars, and once upon a time we lived in a vast place filled with our people. Our land was full of our people. Now what will happen? Now people from somewhere else are going to come over here. People, the white Americans are going to come and live over here, and we are going to be pushed far aside. Imagine, as I told you in the last class, that imagine you in your own house living in one room, and in all the other places other people are living. So you will be so sad and depressed, isn't it? That is the condition over here. So he gave you laws but had no word for his red children, whose teeming multitude. Okay, no, we are two distinct races with separate origins and separate destinies. So we are not same. We have separate destiny. You may have the destiny of growing and growing, and we have the destiny of falling and falling and being destroyed. So our destinies are different, our origins are different. There is little in common between us. To us, the ashes of our ancestors are sacred, and their resting place is hallowed ground. So we think that, you see, our land is very important to us. Okay, so it is a hallowed ground for us. It is a very holy land for us. You wander far from your graves of your ancestors, and seemingly without regret. You do not even regret. You do not even be sad because you have to move far away. Imagine they because of imperialism they were moving this side and this side and that side. They were moving away from their own homeland. So you don't bother about your land, but we have a lot of love for our land. Your religion was written upon tablets of stone by the iron finger of your God, so that you could not forget. The red man could never comprehend or remember it. So you see, now you see the picture beside. What happened was the 10 Commandments was written on, the pieces of see over here, as you find tablets of stone. So they were written on tablets of stone. The 10 Commandments, what you have to do and what you not have to do, these were written, okay, with the iron finger of your God. So your God was very careful about the rules and regulations that you must follow, and they were written on the tablets of stone. But our God is not like that. Our religion is the tradition of our ancestors. The whatever our ancestors followed, we kept on following, and it moved on and on. The dreams of our old men given them in solemn hours of the night by the Great Spirit, and the visions of our sachems, and is written in the hearts of our people. So you see, whatever the Great Spirit told our old and wise people, and it was passed on to the people one after the other, it kept on moving. And our religion was never so strict as the white Americans, as they were written with the iron finger of God on tablets of stone. They were not so cruel or not so strong and rigid. We had a very soft and very nice hearted environment where we live, among our people, among our Great Spirit. Okay, Coming to the next page, your dead cease to love you and the land of their nativity as soon as they pass the portals of the tomb and wander away beyond the stars. Means once your men are dead, once they are they are dead and they are buried, what happens is they move away. They are not much they do not have much feelings for the land, much not much emotional about their land. So as soon as they die, they leave. They are soon forgotten and never return. Our dead never forget this beautiful world that gave them being. They still love its verdant valleys, its murmuring rivers, its magnificent mountains, sequestered vales. Verdant valleys means our people are so fond of the land that they never forget the beautiful green valleys of this land. The murmuring rivers, slowly the rivers used to move through the valleys, through the mountains or through the forests, and the soft sound of the river, the mountains, the sequestered vales, the hidden away valleys. Okay, and the verdant lined lakes. So all by the banks of the lakes there was greenery, and we will never be able to forget our land. Okay, even when we are dead, we will come back over here to live in this place. Fond affection over the lonely hearted living, and often return from the happy hunting ground to visit, guide, console, and comfort them. So, the people who are dead, they will keep returning from wherever they are after their death. They will keep returning to this place because they are so fond of it. This place gives them happiness. That's why they will return. Day and night cannot dwell together. Now this part is important. Why does he write day? Why does he say day and night cannot dwell together? Because you see, two separate entities cannot live together. The Native Americans and the white Americans cannot live together because they are just the opposites. The red man has ever fled the approach of the white man. So the red man were always afraid of the white people, and they kept on running away from to which place the white Americans came. So, however, your proposition seems fair, and I think that my people will accept it and will retire to the reservation or you offer them. Then we will dwell apart in peace. For the words of the great white chief seem to be the words of nature, speaking to my people out of dense darkness. Important. Why dense darkness? It seems the words are coming from far away place. We don't even know who is this man who is asking us for our land, who is going to come and live on our land. We don't even know these people. They are going to come and they are assuring us that they will protect us and everything from a far away land, as if he's talking from dense darkness. Why? Because when it is dark, we are not able to see clearly, isn't it? So we don't know who is offering us this help, whether he is going to keep his word or whether he is going to torture us or kill us or throw us away. We don't know. So we just have to surrender ourselves. It matters little where we pay the remnant of our days. So it does not matter where we spend the leftover days of our life. They will not be many. We know that once we have to move away from our land, once we are living like that in a small piece of land in our own land, we will be so depressed that we will not be able to live for long. The Indian's night promises to be dark, so our night is going to be dark forever. Not a single star of hope hovers above the horizon. So I know that there is no hope. This is a no hope situation. We are now being pushed aside. Soon we are going to be extinct. Sad voiced winds moan in the distance. Grim fate seems to be on the red man's train. So grim fate, I am sure that we will be doomed soon. It is just death and destruction that is going to come. So, and wherever he will hear the approaching footsteps of his fell destroyer, prepares stolidly to meet his doom, as does the wounded doe that hears the approaching footsteps of the hunter. Very important questions can be asked. There is a comparison. This is a simile. What comparison? You see, when a bird is hunted, maybe the hunter has shot an arrow or a bullet, and the doe is not killed, the bird is not killed, but it is hurt and it falls to the ground. The bird is very well aware that it cannot run away from the hunter. It has fallen, and the hunter is approaching slowly towards the bird to catch it and kill it. Okay, so the bird can hear the footsteps of the hunter. He cannot escape. Same way, just like this wounded bird, the Native Americans, they can hear the end coming closer to them, very closer to them, that the death and destruction is soon going to come, but they cannot escape it, just like the wounded bird. This point is very important. Have to understand it carefully because this may come as a question. A few more moons, a few more winters, and not one of the descendants of the mighty hosts that once moved over this broad land or lived in happy homes protected by the Great Spirit will remain to mourn over the graves of a people once more powerful and hopeful than yours. So it seems that soon we will all be a few more moons, a few more winters, means soon after some time, after a few days, maybe after a few years, we will be extinct. We will no more be here to pray, to protect, under the protection of the Great Spirit or in our lands. So, but why should I mourn at the untimely fate of my people? Tribe follows tribe, nation follows. Now there is a kind of positivity that comes in him while he is speaking. Okay, he's sad, very sad, because he has no other option other than giving away his land. But he feels, why should I be sad? Because you see, tribe follows tribe, nation follows nation, like the waves of the sea. So everything in the sands of time, they're sure to be destroyed, isn't it? If, like, I will die after some days, and maybe even my students will grow old, and then also they will also die. So there is, there is end to every single thing. So why should I regret? Why should I be sad? It is order of nature, and regret is useless. It is order of nature that maybe now we are young and living and happy, soon we will be sad, and soon maybe we will die. So your time of decay may be distant, but it will surely come. For even the white man whose God walked and talked with him as friend to friend cannot be exempt from the common destiny. We may be brothers after all, we will see. This is very important. We may be brothers. This is a kind of, this is a kind of you are telling people that beware. Okay, beware of this. Don't think that because you can take away our land, because you can destroy us, you are the omnipotent, you are similar to God, and you can do anything and everything, and your end will never come. You see, you call us your brother, isn't it? Sarcastically you call us your brother. So brothers will share fate also. Okay, so now we are being destroyed. Your destruction may be distant, may be far away. Now it seems it is not at all possible that you'll be destroyed. But we know that everything leads to its destruction sooner or later. So soon you'll be destroyed, and so don't be very, don't boast about it that you are so powerful. We will ponder your proposition. That means we will think upon whatever you have, you want us to do, and when we decide, we will let you know. But should we accept it? That means if we accept it, I here and now make this condition that we will not be denied the privilege without molestation of visiting any time the tombs of ancestors, friends, and children. So you see, our land is very significant to us. So if we decide to give away our land to you as you have asked for, what we want is, we want that you allow us. Imagine I live in one room only in my own house. So the leader or chief Seattle wants, you see, all over this land we have our graves, isn't it? Our people died, and our land is very important to us, so we buried our dead over there. Okay, so our fathers, mothers are here on the land, on other parts of the land. So even if we move away, we want that we would be allowed this right to visit these places, to the mourning grounds. Okay. Every part of this soil is sacred in the estimation of my people. Every hillside, every valley, every plain and grove has been hallowed by some sad or happy event in days long vanished. So now maybe we have nothing over here, but there are a lot of, like when you stay in a house, you see there are a lot of memories attached to it, isn't it? Like here you played, here you maybe got scoldings from your father, or here you attended your online classes, here you had a dog that played with you. So there are so many memories in your house. Same way, there are a lot of memories in this land also. So although we are moving away, we wish that we are given this right to visit our favorable ground at times. Every part of this soil, yes, even the rocks which seem to be dumb and dead as the swelter in the sun along the silent shore, thrill with memories of stirring events connected with the lives of my people. And the very dust upon which you now stand responds more lovingly to their footsteps than yours, because it is rich with the blood of our ancestors, and our bare feet are conscious of the sympathetic touch. So maybe you see the rocks which burn, which are very hot during a hot summer day. It seems to be burning our feet, but even that has a kind of separate emotion attached to it. You don't feel it when you walk bare feet, but when we walk, we can feel the love of the land close to our heart. Our departed braves, fond mothers, glad, happy hearted maidens, and even the little children who lived here and rejoiced here for a brief season, will love these somber solitudes, and at eventide they greet shadowy returning spirits. So he says that even the small ones, the young ones, the older ones, everybody, they are very much attached to the land, and at eventide they greet shadowy returning spirits. We know that people will never lead, our people will always be fond of their land, and they will keep returning to the land even after death. So everybody, the living, knows that the dead will return to this land. They wait for them. They are not afraid of the dead people. They know that they protect the land. Okay. So, and when the last red man shall have perished, when the last red man is also dead, when our whole race is extinct, the memory of my tribe shall have become a myth among the white men. These shores, so the white people will forget that we lived once upon a time over here, when even they will forget. So these shores will swarm with the invisible dead of my tribe. Even then, be assured that we will never leave this land and go. It is not possible for us to leave this land and go because we are so fond of it. Even when we are dead, we will keep returning. When your children's children think themselves alone in the field, the store, the shop, upon the highway, or in the silence of the pathless woods, they will not be alone. So, although your children might think, your children's children, or anybody afterwards, your future generations may think that the Red Indians are no more there, the Native Americans are no more there, but we will still be there. Our spirits will roam around our land. You cannot take our land from us. In all the earth, there is no place dedicated to solitude. At night, when the streets of your cities and villages are silent and you think them deserted, you think that nobody is there. Deserted means it is all alone, you are all by yourself. They will throng with the returning hosts. That means all the streets will be filled with returning hosts. That means the dead people, the dead Native Americans who cannot leave the land because of the love of land. So they will throng and still love the beautiful land. The white man will never be alone. So we are never going to leave our land and go away, be rest assured. So this shows the immense amount of love for the land. So this has that environmental value issue also attached to Chief Seattle's speech. He wants to protect the land and not give it away. Okay, and he knows that maybe after taking away the land, they will do a number of things. Factories will grow, maybe trees will be chopped away, or there will be a lot of changes. He cannot accept that also. Neither can he accept the destruction that they will face, and neither can they, and nor can he accept the destruction of the land, the beauty, their motherland. Let him be just and deal kindly with my people, for the dead are not powerless. So he says that you see, the dead are not powerless. Don't think that we are dying and everything is going to be over. Dead, did I say? There is no death, only a change of world. So he believes that there is nothing called death. Your soul will never die, isn't it? That it is a kind of energy that which can never be destroyed nor created. So that kind of energy, where is it? It will be somewhere here, like a soul, like a spirit. So it will just be a change of worlds. It will be a different kind of living, but we will be there. So our spirits, our souls will still be there around you, watching you. So be very careful. So here the speech of Chief Seattle ends, and I hope I could make this easier for you, and I've tried as much as possible. If you have any doubts, you can tell it to me in the comment box, and if you have liked it, do hit the like button. It is an immense pleasure if I see a lot of likes, and do subscribe to my channel if you have liked the video and if you think it is useful for you, and there will be a few questions also so that it becomes all the more clearer. So that's all for today. Hope to meet you in the next video. Bye bye.